We're going to start in about 30 seconds.
Now we have a real audience.
Yeah.
Ask a lot of questions, Emily. Okay, great, thank you. Well, good afternoon, and good afternoon to everyone who might watch this. I am Commander Traer from Carmel Police Department, and today we're going to talk about the AB Assembly Bill 481. This is the community meeting portion of that. Today is April 16th, 2025. The purpose and reason behind doing this meeting is to provide an overview of any specialized equipment that our police department has at Carmel-by-the-Sea, increase our transparency with the community and oversight of the equipment that we have, and allow anyone from the community to ask questions. Whether you're here or not today, just know that you have the ability to contact me, Commander Traer at the Carmel Police Department, and you can ask me questions or have any concerns that you might have over the equipment that we're about to talk about today. I will tell you a little bit of the history. There we go. The history that isn't on this slide is that we used to have a SWAT team at Carmel Police Department, and in the early 2000s-ish, they procured some military equipment through the Law Enforcement Support Office of the military. It was called the 1033 program, and that program allowed police departments to obtain military equipment ranging from big MRAPs, were these huge transportation vehicles, which some cities still have today, to even special ballistic vests that can handle higher caliber weaponry. But in 2009 or 2010, Chief Tomasi came in as the chief, and he got rid of all of the military equipment that our police department had at that time. Not too long after that, in September of 2021, Assembly Bill 481 was signed into law, and that law states that we, as a police department, will report all of our military equipment, funding, acquisition, and use. In this case, in this city, it's to our city council, so they understand what we're doing and what we want to do. Again, that increases transparency, accountability, and oversight from our police department, which is always a good thing. I am happy to tell you that we really don't have equipment that qualifies here too much, except for a couple things that I want to touch on out of just transparency more than anything, and it's the same two things that we've talked about before. There we go. The requirements for us is to make sure we have approval, and that ordinance has already been passed that allows us the use and funding and purchase of that military equipment. We have a policy already developed. The ordinance is already adopted, and the regular public meeting is the reason why we're here today. The other requirements is that we post our policy. The 701 policy is posted on our website still, and I have checked that it's still been up there ever since we were last here. It has not changed. And 30 days prior to public hearing, it has to be posted, which it continues to be. We also submit any annual equipment and use reports, which I will talk about today, the use of these equipment here that we've had in Carmel. And also talk about, I added on this slide that we talk about any complaints or policy violations. Fortunately, we don't have any related to this equipment, but it's important that we talk about the fact that we didn't have those as well. There are 16 categories of military equipment under AB 481, and the two that are relevant to Carmel are number 10 and number 15. Number 10 are specialized firearms and ammunitions, 50 caliber, less than 50 caliber, including assault weapons, and number 15, which is really a blanket umbrella statement of any other equipment determined by governing bodies. And we've elected to include one item, which I'll talk about in a second. Number 10 item is assault weapons. We do have 6 Colt MR AR-15 style semi-automatic rifles. Those are carried by patrol. Over the last 20 years, there's been an uptick of incidents that require additional distance and accuracy, and these guns have been accepted by over 90% of law enforcement in lieu of shotguns. So these are more accurate, and they shoot 1 round out instead of 8 or 9 pellets out. It's more controlled and more accurate. Ours were purchased in 2017, and they were purchased through normal purchasing processes. And I've been asked before what AR stands for. It doesn't stand for assault rifle. It actually stands for Armalite, which is the original name of those type of guns. The second item that we carry in patrol are the Kel-Tec KSG shotguns, which are converted to less lethal applications. They're designed to only fire small bags and pellets, and they're used for less lethal. It's hard to see that it's orange, but they're used for less lethal, and they're painted orange so we don't confuse them with a regular shotgun round. They're specifically made for that. All right. This is a new slide compared to last year, and this is our annual report of use summary. In October of 2024, we used the Kel-Tec KSG less lethal launcher. It was deployed in an attempt to avoid lethal options during what ended up becoming, unfortunately, an officer-involved shooting. That was our only deployment of these tools in 2024 out in the streets, and it was a one-time deployment. The Colt AR-15 semi-automatic rifles were deployed only for qualification and training purposes only, fortunately. But we do have access to additional help if we needed it. We are part of the Monterey Peninsula Regional Special Response Unit, MPSRU, which is our regional SWAT team. We do have membership in that, and we do participate. They do have military equipment that would qualify, and they are required to report out under AB 481. That includes drones and other equipment. We don't own any of that equipment, and we don't have to report out on it. This slide here kind of describes some of the costs that I wanted to add in there, because after reading the bill again, I wanted to make sure we were transparent. We spend about $2,527.50 for rifle rounds over the last year. That's for the AR-15s. And we anticipate spending about $1,500 in less lethal rounds for training and making sure we have currently dated ammunition for our patrol sources. There's not a lot more to report out, except for I wanted to talk a little bit about why we do this and what the process is after today. We come to council later in a month, and we discuss the permissions and the purchasing approval of these current items to allow us to continue to use them. We don't want to have any surprises for our community, meaning we're not coming to you today or in the future with any big expenditures for a tank or anything like that. That's not what we're looking to do. And I think this is the best way to be transparent about these items. The flip side of it is if people don't know that we have like AR-15s and they are carrying them out on a big call for service, that can be really shocking for our community. So it's just good for us to talk about why we have them, and that the council knows that we have them also. In the future, I might be looking at some less lethal options, but I'm not 100% sold on the different instruments right now, but things that would make it safer for the community and for our officers on the street as well. I think that's all I have, but are there any questions from the crowd? No?
What kinds of equipment do the surrounding communities use, if you know?
Yeah, I know that, I know they have drones, and the drone equipment has been, I know they've used it for missing persons, like people who might be on the beach or in that surrounding area, and also more significant calls for service, like if there's someone hiding in a backyard, they have the ability to use drones with FLIR technology. Sometimes they'll have 2 of them up, and one will come up when the batteries change and that sort of thing. They also have other weaponry, if you will, like sniper rifles and that sort of implementation equipment to be able to handle big calls for service. Fortunately, here, we haven't needed that, but if we did need that, then we could call upon our neighbors to help us.
So that's one of the ways to get access to the equipment without us having to take responsibility.
Yes, and if I know that they came over and used drones in our city, and I have knowledge of that, I would report that out, so you would know, yeah, they aren't ours, but we asked for that help. I think it's appropriate. I don't know of them using drones here. I know there was a runaway recently, and I did contemplate that, but by the time we got here and started figuring it out, we found the runaway, and we were able to not have to use that. But it would be a good tool to help us find heat signatures if somebody had fallen or if somebody went missing. So it is something we could use.
Do they give you a list every year of here's all the equipment that we have available, and we go through and study that to see if anything might be useful to us?
I haven't seen it yet. I'm sure I could get that from them. With my experience, I kind of know what we have cumulatively. I can imagine we have pretty much everything when we put our heads together if we really needed help. But at the same time, some of this equipment, like the AR-15s, are a good example that if something happened that was really big and it was from a neighbor city, we could be there, and we're trained up to be able to help them to hopefully stop people from getting hurt. Hopefully we don't have to do that, knock on wood. Okay, that's the end of my presentation. Thank you. I guess so.
Right.
And then, is there a way for me to provide like my email address if people have questions? Can I give that?
Sure.
The easiest way, and then people can, if they have questions when they watch this,
Yeah,
they can get
you
a hold
can
of
give
me.
that out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should I do it now?
Yeah, go ahead and just say it out loud. And,
Okay,
yeah.
no charge. Yeah, it's my email address is tti.carmel.ca.us. And if not, just call the police department and get a hold of me, and I will answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you both for being here.